And yes, we are back. Shout outs to us for making it back. You, me, all of us. And today we are looking at Diablo 4 at level 70. Everything changes. And veterans discover legendary feature. I don't know what the legendary feature is. Let's see what the legendary feature is and some other stuff. So let's hop right into it. Hold on. Mic check 1 2.
Diablo 4.
All right.
The path to sacred, uniques, and ancestral weapons and gear in Diablo 4. Let me just say some very interesting things start to happen once you hit level 70, even to rare weapons. And there's a legendary feature that has changed up the way.
Wait, what? Okay, let's make sure I was watching the right one. More time.
4. Let me just say some very interesting things start to happen once you hit level 70, even to rare weapons. And there's a legendary feature that has changed up the way veteran Diablo players are farming in the game. And what's going to happen to Diablo 4
Who is
in the
that?
long term, given that Microsoft owns Blizzard now, will
Microsoft owns Blizzard now? Wait, I feel like I knew that. Wait, what? What about Activision? Um. Uh.
post-launch content and the Diablo franchise in the future become Xbox only. Gotta talk about it, but check this
What?
out right here.
There's no
So I
way.
recently found the
They would not
best
do
way
that.
to both discover new content online and receive the best in internet privacy. I'm talking about private internet access, the ultimate VPN solution with over 30 million downloads,
Is this an
a
ad?
no-log
Oh.
policy, and it's rated excellent on
I see.
Trustpilot. Private internet access will protect your internet connection so you can breathe easier knowing you're browsing.
All right, I
Online
mean,
information is kept private.
he
If
has
you
to
didn't
eat
know,
too.
a virtual private network,
I want him
or
to make his
VPN
money,
for
so
short,
I'm gonna just
hides
respect
your
him.
IP address and safeguards your
Wish him
internet
the best
connection
of, you know,
through an encrypted tunnel.
best of luck
So
for
private
better ads in the
internet
future.
access VPN essentially shields your digital life from shady hackers that are looking to exploit your private info. Whether you're at your local coffee shop, at an
Oh.
airport, at your friend's house, or even at your own home,
I don't go to coffee shops. Don't have friends to use their Wi-Fi. And only thing I do when I come home is look at Diablo 4 content. I think like I'm good, bro.
private internet access protects your data from being stolen. And get this, private internet access also increases internet speeds and lowers your ping so you can enjoy your multiplayer gaming sessions without any annoying lag or connectivity issues. And
Yeah,
guess
I've
what?
heard it
It's
all
super
today.
easy to install and get connected
Hopefully it gives
online
us free
through
RAM
private
too.
internet
Yep,
access.
yep.
And it's available on all platforms, including Windows, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and many more, and it's affordable. You can use one private internet access subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices at the same time. Signing up for private internet access is
This is the last time I'm watching an ad for VPN, bro. Just saying it over and over again makes me not even like the product. Private internet access. Okay. I get it. You have to say it a certain amount of times. But good lord.
risk-free. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and 24/7 customer support is available. And let me tell you what, I love this next feature. Private internet access helps
Oh
you
my
overcome
gosh.
regional restrictions so you can easily change your IP
Again,
address to one of 84 countries.
this is the
in
last
all
time I'm watching
50
it.
US states. This
out
allows
of
you to access
respect.
new shows on Netflix,
Just out of respect,
Amazon
bro.
Prime, Disney Plus, and even new sales and deals that you didn't know about. It's a whole new world that opens up. Plus, it's one of the few VPNs that supports peer-to-peer file sharing. So remember, right now, private internet access is seeing that very big.
If it's private, why am I trying to share files with any peers? Who am I sharing files with? If I'm so private. I mean, I'm just saying, if I'm already private and have to do all this, why would I share files with anyone? Who am I sharing files with?
Discount of 83% off. That's only about $2 a month, and you'll also get 4 extra months completely free by clicking that link in the description below, so check it out. So yeah, on to the official, unofficial news. This was literally posted by the official Diablo Twitter account. It says, The people ask, so we give. We're skipping Diablo 5 through 11. Prepare for Diablo 12. We're bringing the fires of hell right to you in real life, right now, at your door.
What?
Dear God. Lilith shows right up at your door. What would be the first thing you would say to her?
Why do companies do this? This is not funny. It's not cringe, but it's not funny. At least.
Sound off in the comments.
So far, I am not enjoying this video. I'm just gotta be honest. This one is not hitting.
Down below. Also, if you did not know, the most popular classes were revealed from the beta. Check it out. It was the Sorcerer and Necromancer, of course, but between those two, which would be your go-to class? Which one would you main? I myself, I loved the Necromancer, obviously by the gameplay. But yeah, we got to talk about what happens at level
Neither.
70, because some really cool stuff starts to drop.
Barb,
We're talking about
Druid.
sacred ancestral weapons, and of course, the uniques that you will be experiencing. But let's take a look and dive into this post right here. It goes on to say this: Diablo 4 in-game itemization, unique to ancestral grade, and a fixed guide, because it walks us through what we can expect for
What?
our
A guide?
leveling experience in the full version of the game.
Huh?
And trust me, things get very, very
How are you making a guide for a game that is not out yet, bro? You guys are fiends, man. Go outside, touch some grass.
interesting later on. But here's some examples that were data mined.
And the people who make these guides, the people who actually consume the guides, are going to be the first people to complain, oh, the game is boring, the game is solved, please give us more. Bro, you are making a guide for a game that is not out yet. Understand that. You are part of the problem. Okay? I'm just letting you know. You're part of the problem. Not saying it's not useful. I'm just understand what you are actually doing. And the people who are consuming the guide too, understand you are just building yourself up to have a worst experience on launch.
And also shown officially for the actual uniques that we will be obtaining throughout our adventure. This is just an example, of course, uniques that
Hit effect. When Hurricane does damage, there is a chance to automatically cast Hurricane at the target for free. That's kind of cool. Poison enemies hit by your Lacerate or Thrash instantly deal 25% of the remaining damage to all nearby enemies. That's kind of cool. Your poisons no longer deal damage over time. Instead, 127% of the total damage is dealt to the target when your expires. That's kind of cool also.
we will be obtaining.
Kind of cool,
throughout
kind
our
of cool.
adventure. This is just an example, of course. But let me tell you what, data miners were very busy during the beta, and they discovered all of the uniques that were
I'm not gonna
available
stop and
during
look
the
at all
beta, and
these,
there's
dude.
some really
I don't-
cool stuff that we're seeing
No,
here. Of
I'm
course, this is
okay.
only a fraction of what
Not
we're going to
looking.
be experiencing in the full launch of the game. But
You guys can look. I'm just not gonna look. I feel like this is the type of stuff that literally ruins the game, bro. Data mining, theory crafting about a game you have not played. You're just gonna set yourself like. I mean, it's fine. It has. I'm sure there's use for it because people do like the min-maxy type of games for obvious reasons. Me personally, I know what this does to you. It ruins the game for you, so I'm just gonna ignore it altogether.
you can pause it for
Well,
yourself.
not ignore it, but I'm not
see
gonna
what these
read
uniques
all
can
of them.
actually do and pull off. But yeah, let's get into what is going to be happening here through our adventure, starting from the very beginning, because yeah, we don't get access to all the world tiers. In fact, it goes on to say this right here, that at level 1 through 50, we can expect access to world tier 1 through 2, with a 20% increase in experience and 15% more gold at tier 2. Now, at world tier 1 through 2 difficulty, we expect rare and legendary items can drop with special unique butcher cleaver at super low rate. Now, rare items have 3 affixes,
Special unique
legendary
butcher
items
cleaver.
have 4 affixes. Rare and legendary items share some pool of affixes, and legendary aspects can be crafted on rare and legendaries. Now, that's going to change as we go, big time. It's important to note this stuff. Now, at level 50 through 70, unlocks world
Ooh,
difficulty
World Tier
3, that's
3.
world tier 3, 100% increase of experience, 15% more gold, and foes overcome 20% resistance. And yes, to get World Tier 3, you do have to complete the Cathedral of Light capstone dungeon on World 2 Veteran.
Wait, complete the campaign and the cathedral. So the campaign, okay, I see. So
Difficulties.
I was, for some reason, I thought in my mind the campaign would take you to level like 75 plus, and if you replay it, I don't know. I never played Diablo 3, so I don't know how they do it. Since PoE doesn't make you replay the campaign technically, the acts are like they're mirrors, but they're like continuations of themselves. Like Act 1 through 5 are different, but Act 6 is very similar to Act 1, except are the characters different? I think the characters are different. The setting is the same though, and it repeats. So Act 2, 8, Act 2, Act 6, Act 3, Act 7, Act 4. You get what I'm saying? Then Act 5 is like the last act. Then you go into maps. But at least there's more difficulty. Some people were saying, the game is so easy. Ah, well, there you have it.
So it's pretty cool that you have to complete a certain dungeon to gain further access to world tiers. I think it's cool. Now, what happens at World Tier 3? It goes on to say this: sacred and unique items added to the pool. That's going
Sacred items. I don't know what sacred items are, but that's cool. Sacred items are added to the pool. Oh, key power spike. Yeah, that's cool.
to be awesome. Nightmare sigils that unlock nightmare dungeons can drop, and the end game has begun. Now, also, hell tides can appear across Sanctuary. And yes, champion monsters with resistance auras can appear as well, and you get special crafting materials and ingredients from these. Now, only sacred grade aspects can be grafted onto sacred items, so that's something to be very mindful of as well.
Items.
Now, what happens when we hit level 70 and beyond? Good question. It goes on to say this: unlocks world difficulty.
Dang, there's another one. Let's go.
200
Damn, 200
increase in experience, 15% more gold, and foes overcome 40%.
40% is
now,
a lot.
There is a requirement to get to this World Tier 4. You have to defeat the Fallen Temple Capstone Dungeon in the northeastern dry steppes on World Tier 3 Nightmare. Now, World Difficulty 4, ancestral items and new unique items can drop. The in-game loot and builds begin to really develop here. We have rare items now have 4 fixes.
And think about that. Everyone who was criticizing and crying and complaining about the beta and items and builds literally only got to play World Tier 2. Think about that. All the people moaning and complaining got to only play World Tier 2. There is a whole 2 other tiers exist with different pools of items and gear and affixes that we have never even seen, and people were just so upset about the drops that they received in Act 1 in World Tier 2. That's how you know people are just ridiculous, bro. That's why you just cannot, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Just like the legendary items, sacred aspects onto sacred and ancestral aspects onto ancestral items only. So you can't take, for example, a sacred aspect, break it down, and then say, oh, I want to put that on a legendary. That's not how it's going to work at all. You're going to have to match it with whatever rarity you get, like ancestral onto ancestral, if that makes sense. So the hunt for those super rare, uniques, ancestral, and sacred items will be on. It's going to be on your mind all the time. Let me tell you what, and you can see how much it's going to change from like level 1 to 70 the experience in Diablo 4, which I think is going to be awesome. Now, speaking of legendaries, it was recently discovered by Riker that there's a really cool feature that I think a lot of you might have missed out on. It's kind of controversial. It stems from Diablo Immortal. It goes on to say this right here. Riker talked about how more bizarre, exciting, and totally balanced legendaries are coming to Diablo 4 at launch, as confirmed by Blizzard. However, he also noted a feature that a lot of the community missed out on and how it changed the flow of gameplay. So check it out right here. It says this: it's a feature very much borrowed from Diablo Immortal in that you can completely skip picking up legendaries and they will be mailed to you at your stash. He went on to say how it changes the way you play the game. That loot experience is kind of taken away from the player, and some people think that this is kind of a bummer.
Kind of a bummer. then go back and pick it up. How was it kind of a bummer? Simply go back and pick it up. If you are so in the zone and you forget some loot and it gets mailed to you, why are you complaining? You should be happy. But if you really want to complain, then go pick it up. Like there's dots. I think there was like a, I don't know. I remember there were stars when certain gear dropped on the map. So, I mean, it's not like the game is not telling you that something dropped. It's at least something important.
You guys think that it changes the gameplay too much? Because I know it's kind of cool to actually see an orange item drop and instantly go, oh wow, I want to pick that up. But what people are discovering in that with co-op and the way that it's
Oh,
going to be
co-op?
min-maxed is that you're going to want to actually take separate paths when you're in co-op and go this way and that way, and you're not going to be picking up legendaries at all.
I
If
see.
your friend actually
I didn't think about that.
drops a legendary from a certain enemy that you don't even see, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go get it. It's going to end up in your stash. And
Isn't that a
kind
good
of
thing
affects
still,
the
though?
gratification of the loot experience. However, there's some noteworthy things here as well. One thing to note right here, for example, is there is a limit on to how much legendaries can be mailed to your inbox and stored. The number right now is 10. So if you're going from dungeon to dungeon without checking your inbox and it does fill up, it might be possible to miss out on a legendary. So you have been warned, and there is, in my opinion, incentive to actually grab that legendary. Now, you can be a smart player and be very aware of how much legendaries are stored in your stash and kind of count it, but I think you can also have some accidents happen. So I myself, I like to pick up the legendaries. However, there's also another purpose to this system, which is fantastic. Check it out right here. It goes on to say this: having it sent to your stash is amazing. My game crashed right when the boss fight ended. Having that legendary sent to my stash rather than me losing it was way
Exactly.
better
This
than
is
just
exactly what I
straight up
mean.
losing
It
it.
is way
And I
better.
think that this is the reason why the system exists in the first place. And that's actually one of the things that Diablo Immortal got right, that Diablo 4 is actually borrowing from. So I say that is a great feature overall, because that would suck to miss out on a world boss legendary. That would be awful. So yeah, good idea to have that in the game for sure. So overall, I think it's a great function, but I think people are going to min-max this system. And yeah, it might lose the allure of actually grabbing the loot for yourself. Let me know how you're going to play the game. If you're going to walk up to the loot and make sure it's actually in your possession before you leave the dungeon.
I'm gonna loot the loot. That's what the game. I'm gonna loot, bro. That's it. I'm just gonna loot. I don't know. It's not complicated.
All right, so we got to talk about concerns about Diablo 4, content post-launch support being only Xbox only, and the future of the franchise itself going Xbox only. So it comes in line with what's happening
What?
with
That is-
third-party
dude.
titles like Call of Duty.
There's
In
no
my
way.
personal opinion, I do strongly believe Activision and Blizzard will handle Diablo and their franchises that are third-party and currently on PlayStation, much like they're handling Call of Duty. So that gives us a really good basis as to what to expect. So let's dive into this article right here. It goes on to say, Call of Duty consumes Microsoft Activision's deal focus. What about Diablo 4? Great question. Let's get into it. So yeah, it goes on to say this: the pending Microsoft acquisition of Activision continues to be very weird. No, I'm not just talking about the constant sniping between Microsoft and Sony, which these days has put Sony on the back foot, but rather how, when you scale back and look at this deal, it's for a surprisingly limited amount of IP for its price, and essentially all of it is being ignored in favor of one game being debated: Call of Duty. Stay with me here. We're going to be getting into Diablo 4 right now. So it says this: but then there's Diablo 4, probably the current crown jewel of the entire company, especially after recent previews have indicated it's going to be quite good. And I really never see it mentioned when anyone is discussing this deal. Why? A few reasons, some of which make more sense than others. Let's get into those reasons, shall we? So, yes, it goes on to say this: it does seem unlikely this deal will be wrapped up by Diablo 4's early June release date. Therefore, we're not really hearing about Diablo 4 going on Game Pass for Xbox or PC. But what we don't know is if after the acquisition...
If this game could go on Game Pass and then they could just like have it so you only play, or Game Pass or some type of demo feature, and they have it so you can only play like maybe up to like second act, I think that would be really good just to get people into the game. But I don't know about the downfalls, but I think that would be enough to really suck people in, try something new, and then be like, damn, this is pretty good. And they would probably play by the game and keep going.
If the game could transition to being a Game Pass offering in the future, or if Microsoft will continue to sell at a premium like a normal game. Free Diablo 4 in the future would be a huge draw for Game Pass. Will it happen? I foresee that happening in a few years down the road. I think
Yeah, when there's obviously more substance to the game, I think that is viable. As of right now, well, I haven't played Act 2, so I don't know.
that Activision and Blizzard is looking to keep Diablo as a premium experience, that $60 experience, and it's going to sell like hotcakes, and they're going to be able to keep that price up at $60, or I think that $70 or $90, depending on what edition you bought, for as long as possible. Furthermore, goes on to say this: Diablo
70.
4 isn't making as many waves with Sony specifically because it's not a PlayStation-linked franchise like Call of Duty has been after recent marketing deals. It's not even a console-first franchise, with its main home having traditionally been on PC. That's also true. See, the thing is, even though if it goes full-blown Xbox only, it's still very much going to be a PC title. So you PC players really don't have to worry. The people that have to worry are the PlayStation users. Furthermore, they go on to say this, but I have questions about how future Diablo content
Sorry,
would be handled if the deal goes through. If Diablo 4 isn't on Game Pass, how would its inevitable Reaper of Souls style expansion be later? How will Microsoft handle this franchise once it's theirs? Great question. We have further follow-up here that says this. And then I'm also curious about the live aspect of this, as it's going to be an ongoing live game the way Diablo 3 is now, though probably even more monetized given a new focus on a battle pass and purchasable cosmetics. How much
First of all, who's asking these questions? The phrasing is very vague and not interesting. It's like there is no right or wrong answer, and it leaves very little room for discussion. I don't actually understand what any of these questions. Like, these are not questions that anyone should rack their brain. Like, no one should read this and be like, "Man, I kind of do wonder now. What is Diablo 4 and the company and my all that going to be like in 3 months or 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, dude?" Um, why does it matter? How about that? Who cares? If you're an adult, you have a job. Some adults have families now, some don't. Probably have a job. You have something bigger to be racking your brain about. I'm sure most people, no one won't care. Even if you have an answer, they don't care. I don't know who wasted their time writing these articles, but guys need to rethink your motives,
potential revenue
in my
are we
opinion.
talking about here? I'm sure they're going to make bank off of
Exactly, they're gonna make bank. There's no point in trying to quantify how much bank, where the bank goes, what the bank does. Uh, doesn't matter. Let's talk. It doesn't matter.
the battle pass for sure. But you know what? I think we can kind of rest easy about certain elements of this because of what has been said about Call of Duty, which of course is the biggest third-party title in the Activision Microsoft partnership or acquisition. So, what has Phil Spencer said about that? And I think that also kind of leads into what we can expect with Diablo 4. Here's the headline right here. Phil Spencer: Microsoft will not make any Call of Duty content exclusive to Xbox.
Does that surprise anyone? I don't like what?
And they go on to say right here that the plan is for Microsoft to treat Call of Duty the same way it does with Minecraft, keeping the game multi-platform and available on as many platforms as possible. We want to increase the places where people can play Call of Duty. I think a little bit like Minecraft. I think when we acquired Minecraft, our monthly active player base was 20 to 30 million. I'm doing this from memory, but I think that's about the size of Minecraft was. I think it's about maybe 120 monthly players on Minecraft, so they really do not want to negatively impact the
Duh.
community. And I think the same assessment would be true for Diablo 4. But it does seem that this acquisition, that Microsoft owning Diablo essentially, and whatever Blizzard is working on, is most likely going to come at a cost to Sony. They're just not going to be giving Sony access to their acquired games.
And in my opinion, Sony basically does their own type of thing with this. Like Sony has this is not the video for that. I just feel like this is not worth anyone's time to even worry about. Who cares? No one cares about this type of stuff. People will think they care because they want to sound smart, maybe, but honestly, no one cares about this type of stuff. No, Diablo 4 will never ever go Xbox only. There's just no reason to. There's just no reason to.
For free. Here's an indication of that one right here.
Xbox
Check
only.
it out
Like
right
what?
here. It says this. Spencer mentioned the agreements Microsoft has with Nintendo and Nvidia. Microsoft signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty games to Nintendo platforms if Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition is approved. Microsoft has also signed a 10-year partnership to bring Xbox games on PC to the Nvidia GeForce Now cloud.
And that's all there is to it. Like if there's money to be made, especially good money, the deals will be made at the right time. That is all there is to it. We don't really have much say so to it. That's just how it goes.
Gaming service, and I'm sure that related to all of this, there has to be some sort of fee that Microsoft is willing to bring these games to the platform, or some sort of partnership that has to be worked out behind the scenes. We don't know exactly what that looks like, but trust me, it seems like Sony is kind of like huffing and puffing over the fact that they even have to do this partnership, that they have to answer to Microsoft. So you've seen some of that news, but that's definitely going to be the case with Diablo going forward. And I do expect them to try everything in their power to keep it multi-platform, though it is going to come at that cost. All right, let's take a look at your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. So my most recent video was this one right here. Yes, the devs just said this about raids, post-launch content, and new class update. If you missed that, check it out on the channel. They said some very interesting things about raids. Now, Douglas Miller goes on to say this: I'd like to see world bosses spawn when I'm not at work and not asleep.
I agree. I think the world boss spawned maybe 4 times total during the beta, maybe more. And I only got to participate in one because it was like the weirdest time. I'm like, bro, come on, get real with this.
So the devs did confirm that the world boss rotation will be very different from the beta, that those set times are not going to be exactly how it works whatsoever, and they say that you don't have to worry about that in the full version of the game. Curious to see what they're going to be doing with world bosses here. Now, you got to remember, when you face off against a world boss in the full version of the game, whether you lose or not, or win, you can only challenge the world boss, I believe, once a week. So they have that system in place. So it's going to make it a lot more nerve-wracking than what we experienced with the beta. Then we have this one right here from
once a week.
Mayo, who says nothing wrong with being able to organize a world boss raid with your clan as long as it doesn't become part of a daily or weekly quest. The world boss can be done by everyone, whether you're in a clan or not. So it's not like solo players are gated out of this content. Exactly. You know, I just don't want to see content where it's like, oh, this raid event has the best legendary gear that you just can't get anywhere else. You cannot get this by soloing and that sort of thing. That would be a total bummer and really, really hurt the game, at least in my mind. You should be able to get the best gear in any way possible, in my opinion. Now, we have this one, Mara Django, who says about group content, Blizzard could make both camps happy by making raid content scalable. You could team up and clear the content faster, maybe even add more mechanics to it that require group play, or you can do it solo and the difficulty scales down accordingly. I definitely wouldn't tie any special bonuses to doing this in a group, since the fun of playing with a bunch of friends and maybe even getting to clear faster should be enough of a reward.
I agree.
But the reward
Nothing
should
complicated
be, like,
about that.
major, of course. but it should be in line of what you should expect from beating a world boss, you know, or taking down a dungeon boss by yourself on nightmare difficulty or whatever. But there it is. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more Diablo 4 and open world gaming goodness. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.
Bum, bum, bum. So, all we know is there's more difficulty. That's good. That's all we really need to know. Glad it's confirmed. I didn't think there would be a world tier 4, but I'm glad there is. And that just means that there can be even more harder stuff down the line. We just don't know about it. And yeah, that's basically it. Nothing too complicated in that video. I don't understand what this section was really all about, because this is not something I imagine most people care about or even have a really good way to answer. Like, will Diablo 4 eventually go Xbox only? No. No, this is the era of cross-platform and all that. They wouldn't take that step backwards. It's just not smart. But anyways, let's keep doing what we're gonna do. Like I said, I'm not gonna watch any leaks. I'm not gonna react to any leaks. If it's on the screen, I will just ignore it. But if you are interested in it, go for it. I just let you know that's how you ruin the game experience for yourself. Anyways, that's the video. Thanks for watching. You know the motto. Tell someone you appreciate them, because I appreciate you guys watching. Love them, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.